cash king? Like,
you know what? It's a great question. I used to think cash is king. It's a bunch of BS. Actually, relationships are king. Okay. The one thing you do need to have, though, coming into the game is I recommend every investor to find out their credit score.
So do you actually need a real estate agent in order to go out and purchase a property?
No, you don't. Being an investor, but being on the JV side, is I want to make sure my investor gets paid and they get paid well. That's my number one responsibility. You know, invest in yourself first. You have to invest in yourself first. If I have any regrets, it's that.
10 properties in under 2 years? Yeah, that's the story of the 7-2 investor who Shaheer from my team caught up with and does a deep dive into Mark or Fayez's background and just exactly how he's been able to build up such a real estate portfolio in such a short period of time. Now, spoiler alert, it does include some hard work. So those of you looking for a get-rich-quick scheme, you're going to have to move on to the next YouTube video. Maybe there's something on Bitcoin or day trading for you. This is about get rich for sure. So while the story of the 7-2 investor is absolutely inspiring, I'm very proud of his growth and how well he's been able to succeed as an investor. Everyone's journey is going to be a little bit different, so it's going to depend really on your commitment to your real estate business and to whether you're going to be able to duplicate his success. But in today's video, we dive deep into his background and really just break down, I mean, how do you actually do that? Get 10 properties in under 2 years. I know you guys are going to love this video, so smash the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new to my channel, and let's just dive in today's video.
All right, guys, I'm actually a new real estate investor. I've been in the game for about 5 months going on now, and I'm right beside 7-2, who's been in the game for a year and 3 months now.
Pretty much, yeah.
And in the last year, he's gained over 10 properties, and he's well on his way to achieve 20 at the end of this year. So going from your background, I know you've branded yourself as a 7-2 real estate investor. So how did that come about, if you can share?
Yeah, absolutely. My journey started by getting essentially kicked in the teeth. I mean, that's what I call it. I call it the kit factor, kick in the teeth. And really what I wanted was resonate with everybody saying, you know what, you know, and on one side you can say, well, you can't control the hand you're dealt in life, but you can definitely control how you play that hand. And the 7-2 is actually the worst hand you can actually be dealt with in poker. So in poker, you have a choice. You can fold your cards and that's it. But in life, if you're handed a 7-2, you can't fold. I mean, you're just giving up. So I had no choice but to play the 7-2, and with no pun intended, I actually got a full house. And that's where it started. So my mission is to inspire those and help those that are in, you know, have hit that wall and then played a bad hand and saying, okay, let's figure this out. We can get out of this. Now, you know, 15 months into my journey, close to 10 properties. And then really this year in 2020, we're on the forecast for a property every month. So we already have one for January we closed on. February, this is the house that we closed on with the JV partner from Cashflow Tribe. So shout out to my man Dave Shapiro. Then I have another one closing. I'm actually possibly 2 closing in March. And then we have one closing in April, which is another JV, Alex Solga. So it's about speed in this game. It's about speed. And that just tells you a little bit of story about the 7-2.
So what made you go into real estate investing?
Actually, very simple. Because I have done everything else. But the reality is you gotta remember one thing. The numbers don't lie. If I go to the bank and I say I want to start a business, can I get a loan? I want $100,000. I'll be lucky if they give me $5,000 or $10,000. But if I go to the same bank and I say I want to buy a property, they'll give me a loan to value 80-20, okay? So they'll give me an 80-20 loan to value, so it's secure. So if I can go all day long and get a property, the bank's gonna give me 80% coverage, I mean, it only makes sense. But the biggest thing is, and this is the whole idea behind real estate, is if you look at the majority of millionaires or billionaires in this world, it all came from real estate investing. So it's not about, you know, there's always about that whole discussion, is it too late to get in the game or what have you. It's not about timing the market, it's about time in the market. And that's what it's all about, okay? So you get the benefit of mortgage pay down by someone, you get appreciation, and then you get cash flow. Doesn't beat that.
That's amazing. That is amazing. Wait, can you go further deep into what like appreciation is versus cash flow?
Sure.
Like, do you look at both aspects of it, or is there one more than the other? Is
Absolutely.
cash king? Like,
You know what? It's a great question. I used to think cash is king. It's a bunch of BS. Actually, relationships are king. Relationships are king. Cash is king to get you to a certain point, but you can't get any more mortgages after that. So what it comes down to is networking and relationships. So don't forget that. It's about relationships and building, strong relationships. It's about people knowing who you are, so getting out there. But to answer your question about cash flow or appreciation is speculation. I'm speculating. If I buy this little stylus here and I want to resell it, I'm speculating that this is going to be worth more money, but there's just more emotion. There's no fundamentals behind it, okay? Whereas cash flow is basically an easy number to figure out. You basically look at all your expenses, subtract it from your rent coming in, and then you can look at my cash flow, okay? So whether it's $200, $300, or $400 a month, okay? That's going to be your safest bet because that's something that you can control. You cannot control speculation. I can't control buying a property at an amazing deal, and next thing I know, they find iron or lead in the plumbing. That property can go from $400,000 to really $10 bucks, right? So that's the whole idea. So I look at more on a bigger picture because this is a long game. It's a game of inches. So you have to think big picture. I'm not looking at getting in and getting out and pulling that money out. I'm in for long haul. I want to own properties. I'm a real estate investor.
so a lot of real estate investors, they choose different strategies, different avenues. Like, why did you? I know your specialty is long-term holds.
Yeah, I have
Why?
Yeah, so you know what? I've done a few things. Okay, so the key thing is focus, and I'm still consider myself to be newer, so I'm still trying to find my niche. But I believe in diversity as well. It's like having a mutual fund without the MERS and imagine
And the
fees
commissions.
and the commissions and that kind of stuff, right? I pay myself, and that's my own commission.
Yeah.
So I want to have a portfolio, and then I can simply balance that portfolio of what's going to be more profitable and so forth. So within my portfolio today, I got long-term rentals. I have VTB for financing. I actually have an Airbnb re-rental. Okay, so I am balancing out between short-term rentals, long-term rentals. That's what's key for me. Now, the old adage said, like Bruce Lee, I believe, said, the most dangerous person is the person that practices that one kick 1,000 times a day versus someone practicing 1,000 kicks, different kicks a day. So where I'm now narrowing more into is that one kick and that specific strategy.
What is that kick?
What is that kick? Today, I believe it's going to have to be going back to long-term rentals. I still want to play or dab within the short-term rental space, but for how long until this market says, hey, you know what, we want more money, we want to charge hotel taxes and so forth. We'll see how it goes.
Beautiful. Okay.
Yeah. But having said that, sorry to interrupt you.
No worries.
With any property anybody purchases, there has to be multiple exit strategies. That's a key thing. No one should buy a property thinking, I'm doing this just for this one reason. You have to be able to adapt. If you don't adapt, you will die. That's what I say, adapt or die. So you have to have different strategies. So maybe you want to try your short-term rental strategy. Okay, so now the city comes in and they want their pound of flesh. Okay, well, it's not worth it anymore. Okay, how do I turn this into a long-term rental? Or maybe I like the short-term rental, but because of what's happening within the city and rules and regulations, maybe I'll do a furnished suite for executives. 6 months rental, right? I can do that as an option. If I don't want to do that, then I can then enter into the long-term rental space. If that fails, I can just sell the property and it essentially turns into a glorified flip, right? So there's different strategies you have to have when you come into real estate.
What are the top three?
Top three is going to be different for everyone. It's going to be different for everyone. I know some very successful flippers, very successful short-term rental investors. It's really going to be dependent on that specific individual, on what they want and but essentially where they're at in their stage too. Some say, hey, I'm just going to get rid of all my properties and all I want to do is private lend. That is so passive. Take this money, I'll lend it to other investors. I'll get my 18 points, sit back, relax. I don't have to deal with the BS of the rules within the city or the province, or with tenant stuff, or dealing with issues with toilets and plumbing.
One of the best investor advices that I got were, whenever you have a property, you should be able to adapt to different strategies.
Yes.
Right? So a lot of the strategies that we use is wholesaling, flipping, long-term, short-term, turnkey.
Yeah.
Right? These are all the strategies we use. So imagine if I come across a property that is run down, no one wants it.
Yeah.
Now, if it's too much for me to go in and actually flip the property, I'm going to wholesale, right? Because that's the next big strategy that I can use in a different circumstance.
Absolutely.
Right? So,
Absolutely.
like, these are the different strategies that I've come about.
That's absolutely. Being a member of Cashflow Tribe and working very closely with both Humble CEO Ben Rashan and of course with Matt McKeever, being council member, working with them on a day-to-day basis and learning from them. It's been interesting because my whole focus coming into this game was I wanted to be a passive investor, passive income. So, but this switch turned on, and it was like this switch that Matt actually said to me. He goes, you can't romanticize about real estate.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You have to see what angle you want to go with. So initially, I wanted to do more passive income. But if my goal is to retire and using passive income as a vehicle, I'm going to have a lot of property generating lots of passive income to do so. But there's only so much capital you have yourself. So you need to reach out. So it was this mental switch that I actually have to start looking at the active side as well. Whether it's looking at wholesaling, whether it's looking at wholetailing, which is another option. Or maybe it's finding that property, you're doing some amazing work, your team's doing some great work, bringing the deals. I purchase a property from you guys and then doing a flip from there. I generate have that cash now in hand, and I have more options. So I've come now to realize I need to have more, again, going back to diversified portfolio, so there has to be an active mix to turn that into passive mix.
So when I first started researching on real estate, one of the most important things that I was running into was that, hey, I don't have any money, I'm young. I'm looking to just get started in real estate. So for someone who doesn't have much money, like, what should they do in order to get their feet into real estate?
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, money is important.
Yeah.
And how do I put this delicately? Because it is a game of wealth, and you need money to generate wealth. But it's not about putting your own money, it's about creating that money, creating that wealth. So my advice before even looking at the money is, my advice for newer investors or those that want to enter the game is, don't think about that aspect. There's things I want you guys to really focus on are these words of wisdom, okay? Number one, it's not who you know, it's who knows you. So you have to network.
Cashflow Tribe.
Hey YouTube, have you checked out Cashflow Tribe yet? It doesn't matter whether you're an experienced, seasoned investor or brand new to the game. I can probably predict if you're currently not having the level of success you want as a real estate investor, it's due to one thing. That one thing is, you're not making enough offers, plain and simple. You need to be making more offers as a real estate investor if you want to hit those big, audacious goals that you're setting for yourself. So here's the deal. Cashflow Tribe, that's the community that myself and Ben were making together. And so Ben's actually so busy trying to provide value to you guys that he had to take off there. But here's the deal. Cashflow Tribe is really a one-of-a-kind community focused on results. That's the difference between us and everyone else. We want to get you guys those results. I'm tired of seeing people commenting on my YouTube channel for 2-3 years now, but they're not making offers. What's holding you back? I'm going to guess that it's either a lack of confidence or a lack of competence. And we cover both of those things in Cashflow Tribe. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make you guys a 7-day free trial offer. You can join Cashflow Tribe completely free, get it tested out. If you like it, great, stay and pay. If you don't, well, I hope you at least find one great idea that you can take away and use to start making more offers, gain more deals, and finally start making the money related to real estate investing that's probably why you're watching my YouTube channel. So let's do this, guys. Let's make 2020 your year.
Cashflow Tribe.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, money is important.
Yeah.
And how do I put this delicately? Because it is a game of wealth, and you need money to generate wealth. But it's not about putting your own money, it's about creating that money, creating that wealth. So my advice before even looking at the money is, my advice for newer investors or those that want to enter the game is don't think about that aspect. There's things I want you guys to really focus on are these words of wisdom, okay? Number one, it's not who you know, it's who knows you. So you have to network. You go to a club, you're not networking with anybody, right? You can't even hear anybody. You can't even hear anybody. You know, there's meetup events, and these meetup events are for local investors within a city. You find them, they're very easy to find, and you're finding like-minded individuals that actually want to help others be successful in investing in their careers. And it's amazing, you go there and you say, I'm new, I need help. It's amazing how many people will come and help you. So that's the first thing. Number two is shut up and listen, okay? That's why you got 2 years in one mouth, as my dad used to always say, right? So you go there and listen to what they have to say because they have the experience, okay? The third thing you want to do is don't be an asshole. That's other words. Asshole. Asshole. A-S-K-H-O-L-E.
Don't be an asshole.
And what an asshole is someone that will, you know, it's like going to someone and saying, hey, I need some counsel. How do I do this? Someone spends that time getting you prepared, and you go ahead and do what you're going to do in the first place anyways. Don't go back to that investor for help. Okay, so these are some of the things that you have to do early on in this. And where I'm going with this is when you start networking and you're doing these things, is you then meet like-minded individuals that can help you assemble a power team. It's not about the money. It's about assembling a power team. So in that power team, you need to have a real estate investor. That real estate investor cannot be a real estate, I mean, it can be if you want Aunt Mary to be your real estate agent, but is good at selling homes to people that are buying homes once every 20 years, they want the white picket fences. Or, my suggestion is you find a real estate agent that invests themselves or knows the investor game. Okay, that's the first thing, okay? Number two is you want to make sure you find a mortgage broker. There's so many out there, but again, you want to get a mortgage broker or mortgage specialist that understands real estate investing. They understand when you talk about the burst strategy, they understand what that means. Not like, oh, can you explain what the burst strategy is? No, you have to be, again, it's about speed. So when you have a deal, you can actually put this in front of a team. A real estate lawyer, you want to have a real estate lawyer that understands real estate investing. So if you're doing something unique with lending or unique financing, like a vendor take-back mortgage, you want that lawyer to understand that. Okay? You want to have, again, assemble a group of contractors, an insurance broker. So it goes all the way around. You need to have that power team. That power team is going to protect you like nobody's business. Okay? The one thing you do need to have, though, coming into the game is I recommend every investor to find out their credit score. You need to find out your credit score, and you got to protect it with your life. Your life depends on your credit score. No matter what anybody says, you got to know your credit score.
What's a good credit score, in your opinion?
Well, it depends who you speak to.
Okay.
Depends who you speak to. You know, because credit's determined by, there's so many different things that vary on it, but pay your bills on time. Do all those things. But again, go to a mortgage specialist, go to a mortgage broker, let them pull your credit. They'll tell you what to do. They'll navigate. They know how to play the game. They'll teach you the tips and tricks how to improve that credit score.
So do you actually need a real estate agent in order to go out and purchase a property?
No, you don't. Okay. You don't. Again, it's going to be on your strategy. I use a real estate agent, but I also use wholesalers too. So no, to answer your question, no, but my suggestion is when you build your power team, you do have a real estate agent on your power team along with a wholesaler.
What would that realtor benefit you in terms of?
If you're new, to have the experience because they understand the game of investing. Two is they can connect you. They have their Rolodexes are so full, they can connect you with other individuals, which is key. And they can actually, you want to find a good agent that can almost act as your coach as well.
What is a good way to determine if you've actually hit like a gold mine or if it's just like a facade in terms of looking at properties?
You know, that's an interesting question. Everybody's gonna have a different answer, okay? Depends where you're at, what you're looking for, and what your goals are. Again, if you're looking at your active side of the business versus passive side. Now there's people that will invest in some of these hot markets that are negative cash flow, but they believe they've hit a gold mine because they're simply speculating that the equity gain on that is going to be quite high. So again, it's going to depend on your market. I can go to other markets here in Southwestern Ontario where you're cash flowing like $900 a month. But at the same time, the property's not going to have that appreciation. So it really depends on the goals you want.
So when I was actually 19, I feel like that's when I had the thought of going into real estate. But I had this self-limiting belief that I was too young. So I know there are a lot of people out there that, a lot of young individuals as well, like 18, 19, that are looking to get started, that have that stigma where, am I too young? Would professionals take me seriously? Like, am I knowledgeable in that state? Like, what advice would you give to those individuals?
Invest in yourself. Invest in yourself. That's what's going to be key. You have to have confidence. Invest in yourself. My advice to someone that's 19 years old or 18 years old that has a choice between going to university because everybody tells them to do that, you take that money and you get a coach that's going to mentor you for 1 year. I kid you not, within 5-6 years, you will be a millionaire. With that same money, you can go to school and you can become whatever you want to become. I can guarantee you will not be a millionaire. So at 19 years old, it's not young at all. You just have to get in the game.
Get in the game, guys. So you're at that stage where you have a lot of tenants that you take care of, right? Now, what does it really take to find a good quality tenant?
Yeah, that's something that I'm dealing with actually, because I've been fortunate that I do have some great tenants, but it comes with the whole screening side. I actually use this tool now. It was actually from a fellow investor with lots of experience. His name is Adam Kitchener, and his advice is: picture yourself. Could you go yourself and grab a beer with that person? Could you go on a date with that individual? Are they high maintenance? Are they? And if it's somebody you wouldn't date or somebody you go for a beer with, they're not going to fit your wheelhouse. Secondly, is I push rents to the highest level, and I do that because it's an easy way of vetting my tenants. Okay. Number two is it protects me as well. But at the end of it, I mean, when you have finishes like this, you don't want it to ruin either. So you have to be very careful with your tenant profiles. Again, without being discriminatory, and that's really going to be key.
So for you, you currently have 10 properties this far, right?
Just under, yeah.
Just under 10 properties. Now, when do you think is a good time for you to step away from that, delegate it, and focus more on expanding your portfolio?
You know what? That's a great question. A lot of real estate investors, and myself included, tend to be control freaks because our skin's in the game, so we want to know what's happening. These are our investments and so forth. It's actually funny because a lot of people put money into RSPs, they'll never look at it. They got someone else managing it. The question you have to answer yourself though is, are you a landlord or are you a real estate investor? And that was what my coach actually asked me. Do you want to be a landlord or do you want to be a real estate investor? So now I'm actually taking a step back, and now I'm going to be looking at more someone managing those, so I can now focus on the deals, to focus on creating wealth instead of just managing the money.
When you're first diving into real estate, what is a good way to just get started with real estate when you don't have to put a lot of money down, efforts down? How do you get started with that?
Absolutely. I think a good way of doing that is really understanding how much you could put into this game, right? So there's some people that are saying, hey, I got money, I got money sitting in a HELOC, I have savings, I have this, but I don't want to deal with the everyday, day-to-day operations. So these are individuals that just want to park their money. And what they can do is they can do a joint venture with someone else that becomes an active investor. Okay, so that becomes one strategy. So there's different options for that, whether it's splitting the equity, splitting cash flow, that becomes an option. The other side to that could be is maybe you want to do the work, right? For example, you want to do the work, but the other person wants to do the work, but I don't want to do the work. So what I'll do is I'll bring the money to you. So how you generate that again comes down to one big thing. It comes down to not who you know, but who knows you. If this is something you're interested, let people know. Let people know. If you can get a mortgage, you have some cash at hand that we can utilize, absolutely. I'm always looking for JV partners. In fact, after this interview, I actually have 3 phone calls with people from the GTA saying, we got money, but we don't want to deal with this. Can you invest it for us?
This was one of your JV partners, right?
That is correct, yeah.
Amazing.
That's right.
Wow.
But what I like to do as well with my JV partners, there's a hybrid version of this, which is something I'm striving for, which is You can either be the active investor, which is now rolling up your sleeves and getting your hands dirty and doing the work. There's the money partner who's simply putting their skin in the game. But I believe a hybrid system is someone that wants to learn the game. They come in with either the money and they say, hey, can you show me the nuts and bolts? How do you do this? So then that comes into play on my side. So I can do that. And that's what I've been doing now with a few of my JV partners, is just that alone, is they want that ability for me to walk them through a deal, see how I analyze a deal, whether it's, because I've been very successful with using a burst strategy. My responsibility as an investor, being an investor, but being on the JV side, is I want to make sure my investor gets paid and they get paid well. That's my number one responsibility. So, to answer the question, we're getting started, but you don't know how to go with it, I think that's a great option for anyone.
So for someone who's just young and obviously is saving up their own money, right? So they don't have a lot for someone who's young, so 20, 30,000. No. Now, should they invest that through a down payment, or should they allocate that towards investing in themselves, buying courses, educating themselves? Like, what would be your take on that?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. I get that question almost every day. It's like going to a gym without lifting weight ever in your life, and you try to do it yourself. Will you ever make the big competitions? Probably not. But if you invest in yourself by hiring a coach, 100% you can do that. So what I tell people is that, when someone says, hey, I have a choice between either spending this kind of money on attending a seminar or a mastermind or a so-called boot camp, but that's going to take away from my down payment, I always come back and say, well, you can go ahead and take that money and buy one property. But I can tell you right now, that will be probably the only property you buy this year. But if you take that money and you buy your seat at the table with other like-minded individuals that have been in the game for a period of time, they'll help you accelerate your growth. So in that year, you can maybe have 4 properties. It's hilarious that I know so many people that will go to a club and they'll drop $100 to pay the bouncer so they can get at the front of the line so they can get into the club. Yet when it's spending $100 on themselves, they won't do it, which doesn't make sense. So that'd be my advice. Invest in yourself first. You have to invest in yourself first. If I have any regrets, it's that.
Investing in yourself.
Invest in myself first. And the moment I invest in myself is when I had this hockey stick exponential growth. I was on pace like this, and all of a sudden it's been a hockey stick.
Yeah, especially with me too. Like, one of the most life-changing lessons that I learned is compressing time. Like, learning from other people's mistakes. Like my coaches, like whatever they went through, like I'm just like, okay, I gotta avoid that for next time, right? And that's basically that reciprocation of them coaching me and I'm bringing that value in return.
Absolutely.
Right? So rather than investing that down payment, go get a coach, and now you're compressing that time where you've gone through all that failures and those turbulences, and you're speeding up time, you're executing with speed, and that's how you become financially free.
That's the ultimate power right now. It's other people's time, it's other people's money, other people's experience, other people's everything.
Other people's relationships.
It's all about leverage.
Absolutely.
And that's the name of the game. It's about leverage, speed.
So for the typical 17, 18, 19-year-old that's watching this and doesn't know where to start, where do you think would be a good avenue that they would take in order to achieve that financial freedom through real estate?
And I'm going to say the same thing. This could be great for a 45-year-old, could be great for a 55-year-old, 65-year-old, doesn't matter, because anybody can be new at that age, right? At that stage. So my recommendation is, because a lot of people may be nervous who to talk to, but you can go to a meetup. There are meetups, they're on Facebook. Look up a local real estate investing meetup, look where it is, and attend. They're great to show up, okay? Number 2 is social media, the power of social media. You have it in your pocket, it's on your phone. Join, there's some amazing groups. In the US, there's a group called Bigger Pockets, but it's more US based. But in Canada, there was just simply a launch actually of a new group called Cashflow Tribe. Cashflow Tribe is actually spearheaded by humble CEO and Matt McKeever. The content is phenomenal, but they actually hold you accountable. There's actually a beta group which is free. So if you're not sure, join it, it's free. What do you have to lose? What do you have to lose? It's free. And there's webinars on there. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power, but only you can seek that knowledge.
All right, guys, I hope you really enjoyed this video because I got so much value out of it. 2 years back, I didn't know what to do in terms of my real estate journey, and now I have a clear path. And it was all because of my mentors as well as the people I surrounded myself with. So I really want to thank you, 7-2 Real Estate Investor, for coming out, educating the youth, and just showing us how it's done, right? Because a lot of people, they are confused at the moment. And also, if there were any questions that were unanswered, feel free to comment them down below, and I'll make sure that I'm even in the comment section answering them. And also, go follow me on Instagram at Shaheer Ethic. I will be answering all your questions there too. So send me a DM, say hello, and we could chat there too. Where can they find you, 7-2 Real Estate Investor?
I'm everywhere, apparently. So 7-2 Real Estate Investor. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on YouTube, the 7-2 Real Estate Investor channel. You can find my podcast, the 7-2 Real Estate Investor podcast. So, hey, I'm everywhere, doing lots of podcasts, so look forward to meeting all of you.
All right, guys. Peace out.
Thanks again to 7-2 Investor and Shaheer for really diving deep into Fayez's backstory. It's really inspiring hearing about someone accumulate 10 properties in under 2 years. As well, it's refreshing to hear, his comfort level with doing JV deals, working with wholesalers, and understanding that splitting part of a watermelon is a lot better than having a whole grape. And so if you guys want to learn more about wholesaling or real estate investing in general, I really encourage you, check out this playlist on the Wholesale Wars. That's a video series all focused on the wholesalers that work for me on my team. Otherwise, just want great general Canadian real estate content? Check out this playlist down here. I know you won't be disappointed, and until next time, remember, making money's a team sport. There's more than enough money in this world for us to all make it, but if you're not saving it, what's the point? Thanks, guys.